What's up, y'all? Welcome back to the channel. In this video, we're going to be going over how to auto-generate thumbnails from a video. And how we're going to be doing that. So we're going to be using Python, that's one thing. And we're going to be using DeepFace, which is a machine learning model created by Facebook. And what's the outcome is going to be, so I have a video, right? And this is actually one of the recent videos I made. It's about the giveaway that I had of some hoodies, and this is just a random overlay I have from a podcast I do with my friends. And what we're doing is we're going through the frames of the video and we're finding where the machine learning model detects that the person in the camera is happy. Apparently this is happy. Yeah, some of them are not perfect, right? But I think this one is the best one. It detects when the person in the camera is happy, and then it grabs that frame, saves it, and later it adds this overlay that we added here. And that's how we're going to auto-generate our thumbnails. Alright, so what are we going to need in this project? To be honest, you don't need anything. You need a Google account. And we're going to go to colab.research.google.com. The link will be in the description. And you just want to create a new notebook, right? And one thing I want to know before we start is you can actually make this or do this on your own machine locally. Like if you have Visual Studio Code or like with the Jupyter Notebook. But I've been running into some issues if you have an M1. You might run into issues using the DeepFace library from that Facebook provides. It's a weird M1 issue, and I'll look into it some more. Maybe if I can get it fixed, I'll do it locally on my machine so I could show it for you guys. But we're not gonna do that in this video. Alright, so to start, we're just gonna, the first line, so you have your Google Colab open, you can name this a thumbnail generator. Right, and then you want to make sure you connect your runtime. And this is free, by the way. I don't think you don't need a GPU, because sometimes when you're working with Colab and like machine learning models, you might need a GPU, but for this one, the standard is fine. So you want to do pip install DeepFace to give us access to the DeepFace line. And while that's installing, we can import it. So it's from DeepFace, import DeepFace. Next line is import CV2, which is a library we're going to be using to manipulate our images. It's very useful, actually. I would recommend you guys look into CV2 Python. It helps a lot with like machine learning and working with images in Python. It's a pretty dope library. Alright, and there's actually one more thing we need to import, which is Google Colab. And it actually relates to CV2 because apparently so there's a method called cv2.show, but when we're using Google Colab, sometimes it crashes and they throw an error when you use it. So this is the workaround for that. But alright, let's get into it. So first thing we're gonna need is the video. And so if you guys are gonna have to go to your your Google Drive, create like a folder, and I created a folder called thumbnails, and you wanna go and just put that video in there. And once it's uploaded, it should be uploaded soon. You go here to this folder. You're gonna mount your Google Drive, and you should see all that stuff here. Once your drive is mounted, you go to Drive, My Drive, Thumbnails, and is it here? Yeah, it's here, but it's not showing in our. It might not show. It might take a second to load. So what we want to do is just right-click on Thumbnails and then copy the path. We're gonna use CV2 video capture, and you wanna put here the path that the folder, and then the name of the file, giveaway.mp4. Right, now what we're gonna do is we're gonna grab the total frames in this video, and we're doing that because we can actually iterate through all the frames in the video, but I found in my experience that is very time consuming. And it takes a lot. It takes a lot of time and a lot of memory. It's not that efficient, right? So my workaround of that is to kind of skip every 60 to 120 frames, depending on the video length. Like this one right here, this video is like 5 minutes, so skipping every 60 frames should be fine. But if you have like an hour video or 2 hour or whatever, then you might want to do like 120, or you might want to space it out more. Alright, and we can print total frames actually, so we have an idea of what we're working with. Yep, so there's 9,600 frames in this video. So yeah, looping through that would be kind of time consuming. So that's why we're gonna do like every 60th frame. And now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna create an empty array of happy array, and this is where I'm gonna store the images that get classified as happy. Right. So now we need a for loop for I in range from 0 of total frames. This is also why we want the total frames, because we only want to loop for the total amount of frames there is. We don't need to loop for any more or any less. We need a function called video.set, and it's this one. You want to set the CV2 cap prop frame count. I'm going to set it to I, which will be the index. Let's do S. I think that's more grammatically correct. So video.set, that sets the frame to 60 ahead. Because what this for loop is doing, it's gonna loop through every 60th. So it's gonna be 60, 120, 180, blah 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 blah, all the way until it gets to total frames, which was this number. Alright, so now that we have the frame set, we actually want to use return. Oh, we're gonna use we're gonna use ret and then frame, then video.read. And what this is doing, it's gonna read the frames in the video. So I'm gonna run this really quickly, and I'm gonna run this once, and I want to see what this stuff returns. So print frame, and let's see what this stuff gives us. So true. So this is basically letting us know, is there a frame? If it's false, then there isn't one. And this frame here is an array. It's basically it's an array representing the image at that particular frame. And we can use that in with the DeepFace, with our DeepFace model right off the bat, since you need an array of an image. Yeah, you need an image that represented in an array, which you'll see that a lot in machine learning. And machine learning is that a lot of, or almost all the data is represented in terms of like an n-dimensional array. Alright, so we passed the frame, and we actually want to pass the actions. We only care about emotion detection, because I think the DeepFace actually provides like race and gender classification as well, but we only care about emotion and enforced detection. You want to set this to false, because this will throw you an error if it can't detect a face. The model's like, well, there is no face to detect, so it throws an error. So that's why you want to put a false here, so it doesn't enforce it. And what do you want to do now? So let's just print result. And this is only going to run for one time because I have this break here. So let's print results. Oh, list. It says list index out of range. Oh, this needs to be an array. There we go. And this is what the result is. So you see, it's only grabbing the emotion, and these are all the emotion available. And it also lets us know what's the dominant emotion. So the dominant emotion is fear. Oh my god. In the first one, you see it's a sad, happy, fear, disgust, surprise. So you can look for whichever one you want. Like for some thumbnails, I know people like using surprise faces and stuff like that, or like fearful faces, or happy or sad, depending on what is happening in the video. So if you're like making a video about like a recession or something, you put like a fear face or something, or surprise. Or yeah. So let's see. So what we're gonna do is, so if the result dash, this would be a string, emotion, because this is a dictionary. So if the emotion, and within this emotion we're gonna want happy. And actually let's make a variable. What should we call this? Emotion. We'll call this emotion. We'll call this happy. That way you can change it pretty quickly. I feel like it should be a better name. Target emotion. That's the one we're looking for. All right. So if this number, this number goes from 0 all the way to 90 or to 100, to 1 to 100. So if this is greater than 99, that means the model is pretty confident that it's a happy face. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna append the image or the frame to our happy array. Oh, it's a frame. And actually what I want to do too is I want to use the CV2 show to show the frame so we can see which one is being saved. That's just good for us. And actually we can when it's show, sorry, we can use this right now, since just to see what this looks like. Since the break is still happening, it only run once. This is a man who is in fear. I think that's what they said it was. Oh, not a flattering look, right? Not a flattering look. Not flattering. All right. So, what else do we want to check? So we want to check if not red, then we want to break, because that means there isn't another frame. There isn't a frame that follows. And we also want to, at the end, we want to release the video, because you see here we like opened it and now we want to release it. All right. Or you see here we started like the video capture, which is like it's basically like reading the video, and now we want to release it. All right, and that's it for this. We can run this and see what happens. This is gonna take a while, especially, and for you guys too. Like if you have a long video, it's gonna take a second. Oh, and I'm gonna stop this actually, cause yes. And if you want to stop this, you have to restart the runtime. And I'm stopping this because I don't want this. It's gonna show every frame if you leave this here, and that's gonna be very inefficient. So I'm gonna restart and then run them all. We can close it. I just realized I should have been printing what the emotion is. It's finding for this video. I mean for each frame. It's always like good to know. And for that you want to do result and then dominant underscore emotion. And if you want the percent for that, you have to, damn, this is gonna this looks very ugly. I'm gonna clean this up. All right, so put this dom emo. So the dominant emotion is this, right? And then so you put this here and that gives you the dominant emotion. And then if you want to know the number for that emotion, you will put this here, because this will give you a string of just what the emotion is, and that string will be within this dictionary as we saw at the beginning. There ain't no happy people? No happy faces? Not yet. Let's see if emotion, target emotion is happy. We should be getting one shortly. Oh, I realized what happened. We set this to get the count. This is wrong actually. This needs to be frames. This needs to be frame, prop, pause. Alright. Now we should be in business. And now we're getting this is good. It's good to know, like we're getting what emotion it was detecting for these frames, and we should see happy soon, hopefully. And it's good to print this. Well, yeah, it's good to print this because it lets us know. Sometimes, like when I was playing around with this first, like it was stuck on the same frame, and you can tell like if this number and stuff isn't changing, then it's stuck on the same frame. Oh, we got a happy 99. Well, that's why you want to grab more than one of these, right? Because the model is not perfect. It's not perfect, all right? It's still, it does a decent job. Let's see this 99.9. Well, that's all right, Not all of them, but out of this, it should return at least like one or two that are usable for a thumbnail, and that's what we're gonna go with, right? That's why you just want to pen as much as you want, and this is just for the happy. Like if you wanna, oh, this is more interesting. If you want like a sad thumbnail, then looks like there's a lot of. This fear thing is funny. Like I was in fear while filming. All right, so we're gonna let this run, and then when it's done, we'll come back. All right, it's done, and this is apparently a happy face. Where's the face and where's the happy? I don't know. All right, let's see. Now let's actually look real quick what the length of our happy. What was it? Happy array. So we have 6 images, and we can loop through them for I in happy array. You can loop through them, and if you want to see them, I'll save us the misery of watching these. You just do this, and it'll display all of these in line, like one by one. But we're not gonna do that. You guys can run that yourself. Knock yourself out. All right, now what do we need to do? So we actually need to import the pillow library in Python. From pill, import image, and we also want to import matplotlib.pyplots, which we're going to use to display our image because we're going to do some manipulations right now to it. So what do we need to do? So let me actually show you guys something. So if I add this, a line of code, if I grab the first frame and I do shape, so these should more likely than not, unless it's like a 4K video, the frame is going to be 1080. It's going to be a standard video frame, which is 1920 by 1080, 1080p. And so what we need to do is we need to resize it, right? Because YouTube thumbnails are, what is it? They're like 720. I think it's 1280 by 720. You can look it up, but I'm pretty certain it's that. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to call this for image in happy array. We're going to resize image, and for that we use a CV2 library, and there's a resize function. We pass in the image, we pass in none here, and there's fx and there's a fy, and there's an interpolation. For interpolation, we're going to pass CV2 dot inner area. I'll put a good video in the description that kind of explains more what's going on here, but this is basically how we're going to resize the image. And what we need to do is we need to resize it by 0.66667. Why that? Because that's like the ratio to get from, like if you do the math, to get from 1080p to like 720, to get your frames the same way, you need to shrink, you basically need to shrink the image by 2/3 the height and the width, and that'll get you the desired outcome. And I think we could actually, if you wanted to, you could show this image, but we're not going to do that. Let me just carry on with the video. And now we need to, because this is still a regular image like it was here. Not a regular image, but it's the same type of image. In order to add the overlay that we're going to add, we need to turn it into a pillow image. And to do that, we're going to use image.fromArray output for resize image. This should be past tense, resized image. And this converts the resized image into a pillow image that we can work with. And one thing too is we're gonna want to do this to the image array. Otherwise, you're gonna get a blue image. And I'll run this just to show you. All right, so if we do pot.show on our pillow image, and we do plot.show, it'll show all of them this way. And you'll see we're blue. And that just has to do with like the different way they represent images. So what we want to do is we want to put some colons here, and this way it'll show the art. I think it's what it's doing is the other way is using BGR, which is blue, green, red, and this way it's using red, green, blue. But don't quote me on that. But I believe that's the reason of the blue the blue image. Looks like I'm an avatar. But alright, so, and lastly, you want to grab your layover image, and I like to use Canva for stuff like this. You can use like Photoshop, you can use any tool you want, right? Basically, you need something that's going to give you an image that is going to have a transparent background. Otherwise, it's going to make our lives way more difficult if we don't have a transparent background. So what we do is we go back to our thumbnails, and here we'll drop in our transparent background image, the layover we want on the thumbnails. And let me know in the comments if you want to see, because you can also add text here, but I found the layover is nicer, because with the text it's a lot trickier to like customize it and make it look as neat. Like this layover we have here is pretty nice to be on a thumbnail, and the text is kind of bland, so that's why I went with this. So what we want to do is want to create a layover, and that you want to use image.open, and you want to find the path of the image or the thumbnail. Well, basically the image layover. And that's going to be in the thumbnails, CC layover. And this is a layover I use for a podcast that me and my friends have. Check it out if you're interested. Alright, so we can create a layover. Now we need a position, and we're going to position it 0, 0. This way it'll just, so this thumbnail layover it has the dimensions of a thumbnail. I don't know, you can't see it, but this layover has, it's, what is it, 1280 by 720, which is the thumbnail requirement. So it'll fit perfectly on our images since that's the size of these. And we want to do is we want to call our pillow image dot paste, and we're going to call layover position layover. Alright, and now, and let's create an array just in case we want to do more stuff with our images. An edited images array, which is going to be empty, and in this right here we'll edited images, we'll append the pillow image, and boom, we should be good to go. Now the only thing we want to do is, so let's say we want to save this, you just call image.save, and we want to save this. We're gonna want to save this in this path, so I'm gonna copy the path, right? And I actually realized we're gonna have to use an f string here. We have to make some changes to our for loop. That's gonna help us with the naming. So we want to use enumerate. So I'm gonna cut this out and use enumerate. And in Python, enumerate lets us, it's kind of like a for loop, but it also references the element and the index at the same time in the loop. And that's going to be useful because we can use the image still, and now we also have this index with us. So thumbnail, and you do curly braces here, and you just put the index. And you want to put, let's do JPEG. Wait, JP, yeah, JPEG. And let's run this. Oh, abort. It's actually pillow image. You can actually just use the pillow image and save it directly from there. So you do pillow image.save. Now we run this, and boom, you see we have our thumbnails, right? And we get to pick from these. Probably would go with something like this, maybe this one, right? And if you go to your Google Drive, it should show up here. Yeah, here are the 5 thumbnails. So yeah, that's been generating our thumbnails automatically. There's still some tweaking we can do, and you can add some custom text here. You can also, I was thinking about maybe I'll do another video, let me know in the comments, where you center the person's face. So you see how sometimes the person might be like at one of the edges. Maybe you want to center them in the thumbnail, but I decided to not go with that because it's a little complicated. I wanted to keep this one very light and not that complicated. So yeah, like, comment, share, and subscribe. Let me know your thoughts down below. Let me know what else you would like to see. If you have any questions, if you run into any errors. And you have a good one. Peace.
I'm riding between it all in this perfect play. I'm a piece of the puzzle, I'm a fit where you need me, baby.